Hello, thank you for joining me. My name is Alicia Haskett. If you've been watching my shorts, which I do every day, a short of a book that I read, thank you. I appreciate you. Please continue to watch. But I'm going to give you my wrap up for the month of March. Starting in no particular order, I'm going to start with 1954 by Pepper Pace. This story took me through so many emotions, okay? Because the setup is that you have this rich man who is having this space where he wants to go back to the 50s. But the interesting thing about this is that he did 1953 and it got a little bit of fanfare, but then he decided to go into 1954 and he wanted to add on more actors, and from there it exploded because he got this black woman to be on the show and people loved her down. And so this goes through what is it like to now bring black people into this space where they were kind of like B characters before. I don't even know if that's the right term. And now you have this story about him, who is the one who is bankrolling all of this, the director, the producer, or not director, but producer, scriptwriter, everything. Now he is inside of the show with this black woman as his wife, and the things that go on after that. I love this book. I'm gonna just say that because I love Pepper Pace and I love how she writes. Next up, which is Mine by Midnight, which is I'm just reading it from here, a BBW romance steeped in love, book number 1. This is by Mahogany Ellis Noir. I like this. Oh, y'all, my nail didn't came off. Oh well, I gotta find it. I enjoy this book. I enjoyed this book because one, it talked about something that's close to me, close to my heart. It talked about miscarriage and not feeling like you were good enough because the person you are with is really giving you that type of energy back to you. And so now you are dealing with, not only have I lost this child, but now this person who I thought loved me is kind of like, what you want me to do? It is what it is. And then it goes into what happens when you have someone who sees you as you are, right? Wants you to be your favorite version of yourself and is going to stand 10 toes down for you and wants you to get back that power that you let someone else have. And then on top of that, you have the person who doesn't want to let you go away because he's like, oh, well, I made you. So there's that. I love that book, actually. And that's a part of a series. I can't wait for the third one to come out. The next book I read was wild. Wild, wild, wild. This was Huntsman's A Mafia's Romance, The Hunted Kingdom, book number 1, Naima Simone. This was wild. It was good, but it's based on the premise of Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. But instead of seven dwarfs, she has Snow White, right? Has 7 assassins. Like, they are her right hand women, and they are all living in this space like a compound with her aunt. And her aunt, which she knows, the main character knows that her aunt killed her mother. And when she killed her mother, she took over the throne. It's a very matriarchal society type of situation. And her aunt sends someone to kill her. Okay? And then from there, it is like fireworks. A little bit of torture, a little bit of shoot 'em up. But it had some very interesting things happen throughout the book. Some surprises that happened that even threw me for a loop. And I was like, damn, that was crazy. So that's The Huntsman. Oh, not The Huntsman. It's Huntsman, A Mafia Romance. That one also is supposed to have another one come out hopefully very soon. This book right here. This book right here. A Black Star, a Why Choose novella, Celestial Bodies, a series of standalones by Danny M. Ward. Let me tell you, was not prepared. Was not prepared. I was not prepared for the level of just craziness that happens in this book. This book has male, female, male, male, male. It has group activity on one person. It has everything. Everything. And even with all of that, the end of the book still surprised me. And I was not prepared. Like these last two books, the last one I just told you, The Huntsman, and then this one, had two things that just was like, what the fuck just happened? And in this book, A Black Star, it doesn't happen until the very end. And you are kind of like, what did I just read? Because that was not what I thought. It was really, really good though. But that book, I will just say, if you don't want to read about all the things that I already said, I would suggest do not get that one because it is a nasty book, okay? This next one is a part of a series as well. Irish Dragons, Irish Shifter, book 3. I think I've read book 1 and 2 in the previous months, if I recall. Yes, I have, because I would go through this. Okay. Oh, this is the last book of this series. And this one was interesting because when you read the first two, it's almost as if you are reading what has happened in the past. But then in this book, it's taking you back further in the past to say why all of these things have happened in the first two books. So it was a really interesting, like, type of trippy book to know that these characters sent their niece into the past to help them diffuse a war. And she came back and a lot of things happened. It was really, really trippy, really, really weird. But I liked it because it made me kind of be on my toes. I'm like, okay, who's this? Who's this? Who's this? Is this person supposed to be with this person? I think so. And then it was like one character, but that character was like 3 different people. And so it was trippy for the main character, but it was also trippy for me as a reader. But I liked it because I felt like it, from the first story to the second story to now this last story in the series, it brought all the pieces together to see why certain things happened the way they did and what these two women were willing to sacrifice to make sure that everything that happened in the previous 2 books did not happen. And so that I thought was really, really interesting. Okay. This one, The Perfect Blend. This is Steeped in Love, book number 2. This I loved because I felt like from the first book, which is the first book here, to this book, it was almost like a 180, because the first book I felt was, we're in love, we're doing the damn thing, I'm getting this person where they're supposed to be, and then you have her best friend, one of her best friends, and yes, it was like, I want to see you as you are, but then it had a lot of like mystery and almost, it was like a thriller in there where you as a viewer are seeing the depths of depravity that people go through when they want your man. And so you have this person who is trying to navigate all of these things, but also trying to navigate being a single mother and dealing with a man who left you when your baby was 2 years old, and now he's coming back and like, hey, I'm here, and you are starting a sort of type of relationship, and you're like, I don't know you, this little girl don't know you either. And so navigating that space, but also having someone in the back pulling the strings of people, and it was a lot. It was a whole lot. I cannot wait for the 3rd book in this series because I feel like, one, everything is going to come together, but that last book, the main character from this first book, he a gangster. He let go of his gangster ways to be a businessman, but people have forgotten, and he has to remind them, bring them back. And so that's what he does. But this book is about this couple who, you know, she's been hurt before. Like I said, her guy left her when she had their 2-year-old. He basically called her on the phone and was like, "Oh man, she y'all." Anyway, he basically called on the phone, was like, "Yeah, I'm not coming back." He was in Germany. He's like, "I'm not coming back. You got it." So this relays that story of her finding herself again, being open to love, and trying to navigate somebody trying to come for them, coming for their necks. This book is by that author that I read about the Irish dragons. This is called Her Dragon Everlasting, Alpha Future, book number 1. 50 Loving States, Arizona. This is by Theodora Taylor. This shit was trippy. This was really, really trippy. This book was trippy because it talks about a main character who is schizophrenic. It talks about going back in the past and then bringing her back to the future. But then when she comes back, she has children with her that she didn't have when she left, but she's not in the timeline that she was actually in before she went back in the past. It was really, really trippy. It was good though, but it was trippy as fuck because it's like, wait, she goes through this portal. You think she has a twin sister, but she doesn't have a twin sister. But then what is happening? And yeah, it was a lot. It was so much happening, but it was good. Like, it kept me on my toes because I don't know what it is with Theodora, but Theodora Taylor, she can tell a story with different times, because I'm like, wait, what timeline are we in now? But then they're in a different timeline, but it's not the same timeline that she was in. And so also understanding all of those things coming together. And this is a whole like series, which I need to go and start reading as well, because they go from different states and they have different characters. So here we have the dragons, the dragon everlasting. And then I think she also has like wolves, and the main character in this is a wolf, but her person is actually a dragon. And so it's a whole lot of pieces coming together. But that's that. And then if you read the majority of her books, a lot of her characters, especially in these dragon series, are actually coming back into each book. So you get to know, hey, I remember this character from this book, and now they're in this book, or something like that. So that's that. This book right here, I was waiting on this book because Tessa Stone is my fave. So this is Guarding Kendra, a Black Paranormal Romance, the Winter Moon Shorts, Book 6. I am a fan for the Winter Moon series. I love the Winter Moon series. It's one of my favorite series, paranormal series. So this book is about, I want to say a hyena, but he doesn't like the term hyena, but that's what he is. And I've read books about werewolves, I've read books about vampires, dragons, succubus, demons. Did I say vampires? I might have said vampires, but vampires, like every other thing. Snakes, birds, right? Lizards. But I've never had a book about a hyena, a shifter hyena. So this book was about two things. About a hyena, and he is a shifter. And of course, if you know anything about hyenas, they are matriarchal in the wild. And so he is, waiting to serve his queen, but then a massacre happens and him and his sister have to leave. They are in, I believe, what is Kenya. In my mind, that makes sense. And so they have to leave. And while they are running, like he's running, but he's never dealt with the modern world because they've always lived in areas where there are no people. And when he is digging in the trash to try to find food, a person comes up to him who is a human and is like, I know who you are and I want to help you. And so this starts this journey of him coming to America, and it takes them 3 years to get to America. When they do get to America, he goes to Winter Moon, which is a special place for shifters, right? The king of all shifters and the queen is there. Now, I was going to give it away, but I'm going to leave it. I'm going to just leave it. Actually, I'm going to say it. His queen was given the chance to come to Winter Moon, and she said no. And so in this story, he is the only one left, and then he has his sister, who he did not think was alive, but she is. So then he realizes that their entire lineage rests on him because he is, one of only two left, him and his sister. And his sister is a badass. I cannot wait for her story because she be kicking ass wholesale. And because they are matriarchal people, he has to defer to her, because not just because she's his older sister, but because she has more power than him. So that was pretty dope, especially in these series where you usually see the male being like the big bad whatever warrior, whatever, but she is that one. And then in this story, he meets his mate, of course, and she is what you would think of as a strong Black woman. Like, she is tired. She got what we see right now. She got let go from a good ass job because they were downsizing and she was in tech. And unfortunately for her, only thing she could do right now is lift. And so you see this whole thing of her like trying to not go against him, but also trying to get him to be a little bit more aggressive. But again, because he's from a matriarchal society, women are the ones who do not do everything, but they make the rules. They are the one that the more aggressor. And he's trying to navigate that with tradition. And then he has a sister who's also trying to do it. And they're calling her queen. And she's like, I am not a queen, girl. I am from Detroit. I don't know what you're talking about. So that also was an interesting take on how they are navigating this tradition. I love this Winter Moon series because this series takes on what happens when you are in a society where women are deemed second-class citizens, and almost like what Trump and all of them want. And now, not only do you have all of that happening, but you also have like these beings who are here who are not taking over because they really do want to work with humans, but they realize that that's not happening because a lot of the men are like, you're taking our women, you're a shifter lover, we got to kill you, yada 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 yada. Love this series down. If you're looking for a black paranormal series, this is the one for you. This was Resolutions by Lady Marie. This was good. I like this one. This was cute. He is a person who owns a he owns a gym, a really like a state-of-the-art gym, got a pool, got everything. And he was left an inheritance. And he has this older woman who he likes. He met her on a dating app, if I recall. Yeah, he met her on a dating app. They get together. He really likes her. Like, they went on like 6 or 7 dates. And then her mind is like, no, you should not be with this man because he's younger than you. And so she kind of just ghosts him. Not kind of, she does ghost him. And he's hurt because he's like, damn, I really, really liked you. Like, a lot. And then you just ghosted me, and now here you are back like nothing happened at my gym, and I'm confused. And so again, it's a novella, so I'm not gonna give it all away, but I think this lends itself to what we see happening right now, where we have women standing in their whatever that is, their sexiness and everything, and they are willing to date younger men, but sometimes they just have to get out their own way, because in this story she basically is talking herself out of, or talking to herself and saying like, oh, I know he's going to want a family, he da 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 da, and he's like, I just want you. Like, I don't even want, I want you. I want to take care of you. I want to love you. I want you. I told you that. And so I love this one because it was short, sweet, and simple. And I needed something like that. After you're reading a lot of like the paranormal and the gangsters and the torture and all types of shit, it's nice just to read something that's really sweet. This was Mayhem and the Mortal, a morally gray hero, enemies to lovers fantasy romance by Shanora Williams. I love this one down. Let me tell you why I love this one down. I have sisters. I love my sisters dearly. And in this book, you have this young lady who is trying to save her sister. And her sister was she worked for a guy who was, I think he's a warlock or something like that, and she tries to steal something from him, something small that she did not think that he would even think about. He does, and he puts her in a dungeon and starts to slowly like take her life force away from her very painfully. And so she feels like she does, she goes on this quest because she loves her sister and she wants to find a way to save her. No one, and I mean no one, wants to help her because they're like, you went against him? Girl, bye, let your sister die. Everybody tells her that, except there's one person who is willing, who is a powerful warlock in and of himself, who's like, I will go with you, but you got to give me, I think he's like 100 something things of gold. She takes the only thing that she has from her mother, which is a pendant, what is it? It's a pearl necklace. And that pearl necklace was the way that she knows that her sister is alive, because it heats up, because her sister has one and she has one. And she has to sell it to get the money to give to this individual to let him take her on this journey, because she can't do it by herself, because the place that she wants to go, she knows is going to be dangerous. And so they go on this journey together, and they collect people along the way. And it is really an adventure, like a true adventure. And of course, they fall in love with each other, but it is a true adventure where you're like, damn, she loves her sister down because she is like, nah, I need to do this for her. Let me just say this, the way it ends is like, what? So I'm not gonna give it away, but it ends in a way that I'm like, damn. This is Karma. This again is like a filler book for me, because this was by Shone, who's one of my favorite erotica authors. Sis does not play about keeping it like, what's the word I'm looking for that they won't ding me. She's not playing about different things happening in her book. So in this book, you have knife play, sort of different gender roles if you're into that traditional, non-traditional dominance type of thing. This is in that book. So this is a really short story. Like, I don't even know how many pages. How many pages is this? 88 pages. Okay. So it's a quick read, but it's a good read. And in this book, you have this young lady named Karma who has been given, and I say that loosely, right? But she's been given to this gentleman who, there are two sides of a family, factions of families. One who is like the law, right? Judge, lawyers. And then you have this other side that is like the gangsters. But they, throughout their history, have married in some type of way for their families to be like this. And so it's her turn to marry. And she has to marry this guy. And she is like, I run this. So, it is whatever. When you think about golden retriever energy, he has golden retriever energy and she has black cat energy, right? Because she has been ducking and dodging him. Literally, she does not want to deal with him. And so what was funny in the story is that his sister went to school with her, and his sister says to her, listen, this girl Karma is the real deal. Like, she is going to bust your head every time. So if you want her to respect you, you're going to have to play this game with her, because if not, she's going to run all over you. And that's what she does. She buys a house, a condo, when he gives her access to his cards, and then doesn't really tell him. This is like, hey, I bought a condo. And then instead of her being with him at his house, she is at that condo. And it's just a never-ending story until he puts his foot down, and then she's like, oh, I can't play with you like that. And he's like, yeah, fuck around and find out. So this was really good. And she likes knives. Like, she'll cut a nigga in a heartbeat. But he don't play about her, and she don't play about him. So that's that one. That's Karma. Again, that's only 88 pages by Shone, one of my favorite erotica authors. So this one is Always Well, a Fort Bender novel. Fort Bender series, book 3. This is by Lena James. I am going to be honest with you. I started reading this book before, right? I started reading it, I got it, I started reading it, and then I just could not get into the main character. And so I stopped. And then I came back into it in March. I couldn't get into the main character because she was self-sabotaging so bad that I was just like, I just want to like shake her. But I took a moment to I stopped, read some other things, then came back to it, and I was able to kind of get into who she was and why she was the way she was. And this premise of the story is that she has been the black sheep of her family. And I mean that with like my whole chest. Her mother does not like her, and the father is kind of like there. And so she has always had to rely on herself. And she gets into a situation where she has a one-night stand, one thing leads to another, and she ends up pregnant. And she has this person who's liked her for a long time, like a really long time, because he's been friends with her sister. And so he knows her and he's watched her, and he calls her Gem, right? She thought he was calling her Gem. He's calling her Gem, like he's a gem, like this beautiful thing that people want, right? And so in this story, she is pushing him away at every turn, because again, she not only has dealt with her mother, but she also had a relationship that went left really badly, and the relationship, this guy who was supposed to be like an advocate for women turns out to be a real creep. And so she's dealing with that, and then dealing with her parents. And so she is kind of navigating, like, I want to be loved, but I don't know if I'm supposed to be loved, because the people who are supposed to be there for me are just not. And you see this, you see her getting to what she's supposed to get, because he helps her navigate this space of, you are supposed to be loved and you should be loved properly. And then you see her kind of like finding her dreams again, because she thought she had to let it go because she's pregnant. And I loved it. Like, in the end, I was like, yes, like, this is a really beautiful story. I'm glad that I stuck with it. I'm glad that I came back to it. So yes, sometimes you do DNF on books, but then sometimes you go back to it. And so I did, and I'm glad I did. All right, this last one is The Gargoyle I Curved, a Red Line biotech novella. And this is by Marcia Black. This was interesting. I like this book. You know why I like this book? Because I think there was some plot holes. Let me just say that. But I enjoyed it because you have this person who's like, I was in a relationship and I thought me and this person were like solid. I really did. And then he disappears. And then you meet him 10 years later at a job that you have been wanting for a long ass time. And now he is one of your coworkers. And you're like, the fuck is going on? Okay? Because this is not it. And then you have this other guy who is the guy who's a gargoyle. And he's like, I don't know why she hates me, because I told my brother to watch out for her because I was kidnapped. Now, the thing is, he was kidnapped, and when they let him go, he didn't go back to her. He felt like, oh, she doesn't want me anymore, because the communication that he received was basically she's moved on with her life. And the communication that she received was like, he don't want you. And so all those things got crossed up. And so this story is him trying to come back to her and be like, no, like, I loved you. I still love you. I still want you. Anything you want, I'm willing to do. And this is about how she's navigating this, but also how he is like, I trusted my brother to do something, and he, instead of doing it himself, gave that task to someone else. And that someone else ain't wrapped too tight. Okay? And so now he has to deal with the fallout from there. I hope you enjoyed this. Let me know what you are reading for April. I'm already 7 books in my April bag. But let me know which book you've read. Let me know which one is your favorite if you did read it. And let me know if you're going to read something. And I am also going to put all of my synopsis, all of my reviews for each of these books right below. So you'll be able to just click on the shorts and see which one you want more information on. As always, I appreciate you watching this. I, again, am Alicia Haskett, and I am all things books, boudoir, and just being 40 and learning this new version of myself.